A warm welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. Do not forget to subscribe. Hope you're all doing well. So in this video, we're going to be looking at a relatively new to market product, Scholl Concepts S20 Black One-Step Compound. But it's the Swiss edition. That's the thing that's new. You may be familiar with the product name, the original S20 Black over there. So it's a new edition of an existing product. What is this product? Well, it's a true single stage abrasive, no waxes or sealants in it. So it's designed to act on the paintwork, cut the paintwork, remove heavy defects, swirl marks, etc., sanding marks up to P2000. And then as you work this abrasive, it starts to break down. It's a diminishing abrasive in my understanding. And then it yields a high gloss finish. It's often the most appropriate choice of how to cut and finish a car when you're under time constraints and you've really only got time to do one set. Well, you can do multiple sets with it. When you start doing multiple sets, then the options to use heavier cutting compounds and more dedicated finishing compounds, polishes, become more viable. But it's often the go-to product that you kind of reach for to do the max bang for buck when you're under time constraint. Very good products. And if you don't want loads of products, you just want one abrasive you can use on a machine, then this is the sort of thing that you'll consider, because the other tools in the range won't give you everything. Of course, there's compromises when you try and do everything. To understand the Scholl Concepts range, that S number, the lower that number gets, the higher the cut. And the higher the number gets, the more it's a finishing product and it's more glossing. So for example, you've got an S0 matting compound, an S2 black, an S2 shock cut, you've got S2 orange, you've got S3 gold XXL, S17, S20, then S30, which is a finishing polish, and then S40, which is an ultra fine finishing polish. So that just gives you a little bit of understanding of what this is, where it sits in the Scholl Concept range. Very important. Okay, let's talk about prices. This product costs £47.80 from Inter Detailing for 1,000 kg. You can also buy the product in 250 kg. I might sometimes say ml or litres. It's just a brain fart. It tends to go off kg. So £16.18. I'm going to give you a really good price comparison here. And these are all credible kind of abrasives that are widely used, so we can see where it slots into the market. So at the lowest price really for a credible kind of compound is the raw 910 at £31.95 for the same amount. Then the Ferekla SFC 101, their super fast cutting compound, £32.81. Rupes DA Fine, you could take their compound price, but £40.95. So these are all cheaper. 3M Fast Cut, you know, an old stalwart that's been around for ages and heavily used in body shops, around £42.11. Koch F6, another German abrasive. So we forgot to say Scholl are an OEM German abrasive, manufacturer. Koch, a similar thing. Their F6 mid-range compound, £46.95. So it sits close to the Koch, but still just north of it. After that, Geon Compound Plus, £48 for a litre or 1,000 kilos. Cartec 9,000. Jump up in price, £62.95. And Sonax Perfect Finish, another German OEM abrasive manufacturer, £64.95. These prices may vary. I just went through and looked at the prices. You always get this variance. I tend to go with a online reseller price. So those prices can vary a little bit, but it gives you a rough idea. So it sits more towards the top end of the market, but not right at the top end. My personal opinion is when you get into the 60s for a litre or 1,000 kg of compound, I think you're getting to the stage where you're off market. You're over double the price of these. These you typically get if you go into your local paint shop, where they sell direct to the trade. It's Raw and Ferekla and 3M mainly. Scholl do have a foothold in that body shop market, but less so. And then these are more, well, you could say, well, Sonax and Cartec are still kind of used in the body shop trade, but these are a little bit more detail-y or a little bit more German. So there you go, there's our price comparison. So it's not cheap, but I tend to stick with it because I see it as being about 15 quid more expensive than the cheapest ones on the market. But it's right at the limit of what I'll pay. So yeah, there we go. Now what I want to do is use this product. So first of all, I've already shaken it, but we'll give it a good shake. The first thing I want to talk about is the lack of instructions on this product, really. This is all health and safety stuff down here, okay? And there's the English, so it's got good health and safety stuff. But essentially, that is your instructions. And I find these instructions, I know how to use this product, but I'm just interested in the quality of the instructions. So used paint, so that makes me say, well, what about for fresh paint, or, you know, a new car paint, if you like. There's no instructions for that. So scratch paint, S20 black one-step compound, yeah, this product. Those pads and the circle there and the jangly circle, you know, that means DA or rotary, and those are the pads within the Scholl Concepts line that you should use it with. Then it goes to finishing over here, and you've got another circle for the rotary and the DA usage. Then for deep scratch removal, so maximum cut, this circle here is just rotary with no DA mark. And then when you go over to this section here to finish it, it's got rotary or DA, but you're not doing multiple set polishing with this. So I think that might be a mistake that they've got rotary there and then rotary and DA, or I'm not quite sure what they're getting at there, because you're not going to do two sets, but there you go. It also gives you some health and safety warnings. So goggles, glasses, do not let the product freeze. It gives you a range of speed for the rotary between 1500 and 2000 RPM, which I would suggest should be and could be lowered, because you could operate this at much lower speeds and you'd still be fine. At 2000 RPM, I think you run some risks when you use this product, or any product really that's got some cut. Then with their DA ratings, they've got 2000 to 10,000 RPM. Now, when they've at 10,000 RPM, so when they give RPM, you typically have to halve it to get the typical OPM reading. So that, to me, reads more like it's 1,000 to 5,000 OPM. I don't know any machine that could operate at 10,000 OPM. So that's a little bit unclear, but 1,000 to 5,000 would be right. Some DAs can go up to 5.8 now, quite typically. So you typically wouldn't use your DA on top whack. Again, could be a bit clearer. Could also benefit from telling you what this product is and having a product blurb on it. Yeah, so I don't think it's the best label, but you have got more information options there and some social media stuff. But I'm just giving you my opinions. So, shake her up. We'll put this on this is a dual action polisher, but it's a force rotation dual action. And because the pad's dry, I'm just going to do 4 bigger size kind of blobs, because I don't want to be dry buffing with it. And what we'll do is we'll go in and do a 4-set pass with the product, buff it, show you what we're getting, and see if we can learn what this is giving us over its predecessor. So we have a clean panel that's ready to be polished. There's going to be some noise kicking up from this. I'm just going to polish a shoulder length section of this. By putting the polish all out, I've got fresh, undiminished polish over the whole target area. I'm just going to thin it down with a low speed pass. Okay, so I've got a good amount of polish on there. Doesn't feel too clumpy and sticky or anything like that, which is fine. Doesn't feel too abrasive and pasty in the fingers, the Scholl Concept stuff. It's got a shine to it and a sort of oiliness to it when you rub it in your fingers. I'm cranking the machine up to speed 5, and I'm going to just work this for 4 passes. it's not heating up, but there's a little bit of warmth there. I just want to show you the product after those 4 passes. It feels a bit lighter than the existing S20 product. I'm using this with a green mid-range sort of pad. It's not a heavy, stiff cutting pad. It's not a very soft finishing pad. It's the green Hexlogic pad. I've got 2 of them, so it just creates a good comparison point. Obviously, ideally, you would be using, or if in doubt, you'd be using this with a Scholl Concepts spider pad range as they recommend. But my polishing guides use these green Hexlogic pads with the Scholl Concepts, and it works with the S20, and it works fine actually. The reason I recommend these when starting is because if you pick a really coarse pad, you know, it can be a bit a different experience. Anyway, we're not talking too much about that. So again, 4 big size blobs because it's a dry thing, and I'm on the dregs of that now. How many cars will you get out of a 250 ml or kg bottle? Maybe 3. It depends on the size of the car, something like that. So let's just go in with the existing compound. I'm going to leave that polish on that panel just to dry off a little bit. So this paste, the paste in this S20, I've had it a bit longer, but it just feels a bit thicker than the Swiss edition. Yeah, similar sort of thing, but that's got. Well, let's just work it. Let's just do the 4 passes with this. So here we go, same speed. Yeah, interesting. I can smell the difference. I've lost track of my passes. I'll do one more. I lost count. My mind was just going to strange places, as it does when you machine polish. So first thing is I can smell a more solventy smell with the existing S20 black, and as I've talked about before, this nose, nothing gets past it. So on the panel after working the set, that's gone a little bit more translucent. This is a little bit thicker. It's dried off a little bit more. Can you see that? Dried off. That's unusual. Usually that stays oily, but it's unusual. I am at the bottom of the bottle of that one, but can you see that? And if I just take another finger, yeah, that's oily still, whereas that's dried out. That is unusual. That is unusual. Yeah, so now I want to have a look at the wipe down, which I think is important. So we've got a clean microfiber towel here. We're going to wipe this off. Yeah, that's nice. It's not like a wax. It's not a one wipe with this product. Never is with a sort of product that's cutting like this and abrasive. You're gonna have to wipe a little bit more. But that's pretty. I'm not putting any pressure on. That's come off the panel. Really nice, actually. Yeah, really nice. So let's just flip over and we'll go over here and we'll wipe. Yeah, and this feels drier. And it is. You know, you can see that, can't you? Interesting. So I'm getting a little bit more, it's still a nice buff. Actually, when you get that dryness, it's still a good buff actually on this side. Yeah, both of them buff nice. I've always found S20, the reason I use it is because it always works. It always works. But if you follow the channel, let's just flip when we go back over to this side. Flip there. This side feels a bit smoother because maybe it's dried off a bit more. But that side was less chalky, less dry, more oily and easy to wipe down. Felt like there was a little bit less bite to me. Now, let's just talk about these products. So S20, if you followed the channel, this particular product, what can happen with it is that when you're demoing it on nice paint, and this is OEM Ford paint, it works great. There's all different paint types out there, and sometimes you can cut a car and you can feel it under the polisher that the abrasive can stick to the clear coat more, and it's harder to kind of polish it smoothly. I had it a little bit when I did the detail on the purple 996, and it was slightly sticky paint. In those circumstances, this S20 product can bed down. You've probably heard me say that a few times. It can bed down, and what you can get is when you wipe over the panel, there can be a bit of dried on polish which just won't buff off easily, and you kind of have to, you know, wipe it a little bit more vigorously to get it off with a cloth that might not be as soft and plush as that cloth. Like, you just need a bit more bite to get it off, or you might need a bit of panel wipe on it or something. So that I call bedding down. That can happen with S20. The other thing that can happen with S20, and happened when I was polishing the Porsche, is that the abrasive can gum up into little kind of balls. Now that tends to happen, never tends to happen when you're doing your first set and you put your polish onto a clean pad and you do it. It tends to happen as the pad kind of heats up and you get more, even if you're cleaning the pad off, you get more kind of old polish in the pad. And then when you go and do your next set, that older polish mixes in with the fresh, clean, new polish, but it thickens it. And then you get this little balling, and it can spit the balls out the side. So I just call it clumping. When that happens, what I tend to do is just clean the pad more thoroughly. You're not supposed to with the Scholl stuff, as far as I know, but you can just mist a squirt of water onto the pad, but don't put too much water because it doesn't freely mix like when you're doing it, and you risk sort of thinning things out too much, introducing water film that you can see on the panel. So that's, you know, if you're going to mist onto that pad, just a light mist, and do it once every 2 or 3 sets, and also lower your speed down and consider just a little bit less pressure. So you're just working the product a little bit less. So you make slight adjustments if you encounter those problems, but 9 times out of 10 when you use S20 and the paintwork is smooth and it's original and all that sort of stuff, it just works really, really well. A bit like in that demo that I've just done, no problems. Yes, the difference between the two products, this one was a bit drier after I'd worked it. You could see that chalkiness of my fingers, and that one was a bit oilier. But we are at the bottom of this bottle, like right at the bottom. So that could account for it, because I typically after doing a nice light 4-pass set, that, in my experience of using this, it would typically be oily as well. So there we go, a direct comparison. Now, I'm going to overlay you. This moves me on to, I want to try and do some critical stuff on this product, because one of my biggest bugbears about the release of this product is the lack of information about what Swiss edition is over the existing product, and why now have Scholl Concepts got 2 products, you know, a Swiss edition, the latest one, and this one. Which one should you buy, and what difference does it make, and why is the lid blue? Now, I looked on the Scholl Concepts website and pulled up the product information on this product, and I'll overlay you that sort of stuff. And you can read it, and it says like it's 4 out of 6 cut. It can handle P2000. It's high gloss. I think it was like 5-star gloss rating. And then you go and look at the information for this one on the Scholl Concepts website, and I'll overlay you the information. And it says that it's like a, 4 out of 6 cut, and it's a 5-star glossing, and it can handle P2000, and that's all the same. And then when you read the product description, it's like a high quality, high yield cut, breakdown to a high finish, and the product description reads exactly the same, or close enough to the same. I don't have them in front of me as I make that statement, but you will have seen them. And from the product description and the initial specs, I can't see any difference between them. So I'm trying to answer that question. What is the difference between them? Then I look at the little bullet point features over on the right, and I can see 2 differences. One, that this product advertises non-VOC. This one doesn't. So this one contains some volatile organic compounds, or something that's VOC, and it smells like a bit more VOC-y to me. This one doesn't, and this one in its bullet points offers an easy to wipe formula, and this one doesn't. So that's the only 2 differences I can find with Swiss Edition. So it should be a bit easier to wipe. Yes, maybe I'm seeing that, and it should be non-VOC. The rest of it, I don't have any information to say that this is a different abrasive, it yields more cut, and it breaks down to a higher gloss finish. It pushes the boundaries beyond S20. All I have is non-VOC and easier to wipe. Okay, so some of the criticism: no product description on the bottle. So you could just do a little paragraph there on what a single stage product is used for. You could use this on a variety of paintworks for all sorts of defect removals and all that sort of stuff. I've got Danny trying to call me here. All right. So product description. We've talked about the little thing there with the rotary RPM reading, or DA RPM reading, no colour. Yeah, no colour coding. So like, you have to match them to certain pads, but they don't match up to the abrasive colour. So it's a little bit more confusing than some other brands where you have, like, you take the Rupes, for example, you've got the blue heavy cut system, you've got the yellow mid-range, and you've got the white finishing, and you pair them up to give people that are new to it a starting point. So I think when you're starting out polishing, the Scholl Concept stuff is a bit more geared towards kind of professionals that will go and read it and get the gist, whereas guys at home might just buy this and then when it turns up try and think, what have I got to use it with and how do I use it a bit more. So the instructions could be better. Yeah, now here's another thing. If I worked for Scholl Concepts, and this is one of my flagship abrasive products that is used by body shops, is used by detailers up and down the country, is a very popular product, is probably my favourite and most recommended abrasive in all my polishing guides. You're releasing a new version of your flagship product. I think you need to do a little bit more with your marketing and telling people about this product, because I went and did my research and I couldn't find anything on this at all. I couldn't even find any YouTube videos talking about it. So if Scholl Concepts could fire up a YouTube video, and apologies if there's one in German or something that I'm not able to search, or someone in the UK, fire up a video, showing this bottle and explaining what it is and why you've pushed this out on the market. Let us know the reasons for picking this product over this particular product. Let us know your future plans for the product. Are you going to phase this out? Are you going to sell both of them forever? What's the point of using this? Sometimes brands, when this one exists, sometimes brands don't want to pull the rug on this because so many people use it, and it panics them into going, when that disappears and a new one comes out, it can panic them into jumping ship and trying other things. So I don't mind a phased approach, but I'd like to know what the future holds for S20. Is that going to be phased out? A bit like S3 Gold XXL when it came out, limited edition XXL. I think that's taken over and the other one's sort of gone now. And I think Scholl Concepts also need to be careful with simplifying the names. Like when you have S2 Shotcut, S2 Black Edition, S2 Orange, if that's still out there, and stuff like that. It's like, well, they're all the same number. So the difference is quite tricky to get your head around. And it's like, we now have S2 Black. The black is not a good thing to include because a lot of people ask me in the comments, is it for black cars only? No, it's just called Black Edition, you know, or whatever. Black, S2 Black, that's just what it's called. When you then have S2 Black Swiss Edition and you don't have strong information on what the difference is, it creates a bit of confusion. And I think Scholl can be guilty, in my opinion, of not really doing any marketing. The double-edged sword is, ironically, I kind of like that. I kind of like it, but I just can't believe there's no information on this product. And I'm looking for it thinking, well, what's the difference? That's the first thing they need to get out there. Okay, so I've done my negative stuff on everything and I've done my price comparison and we've talked about the interesting stuff. And this is done as proactive, constructive criticism that hopefully brands can digest and either disregard or think about what we're saying and if it's fair and if they can improve from it. The pros of this particular product. So S20 Black has been my sort of go-to single stage polish for a long time. It's as good as anything on the market, really, and it's priced where I will just about pay for it. It's reliable to me. It does yield high cut, and you can work more of that with stiffer pads. It does. It's a rapid. Sometimes I use it if I've just got a little light swirl. You know, you can use it on little working spot sections as well. If you've noticed something or a defect or something somewhere in the car, it's an ideal product to just bust out. If you're doing touch-ups and you've sanded them, it's an ideal product to bust out and just tidy that up. And if you use a cutting compound sometimes to finish up some sanding marks, the finish isn't quite as clear. You can introduce compounding haze. So it's a reliable cut and finish product that's very high quality. It also finishes down really well on soft paints that can show machine marring with other compounds. This doesn't do that. It's a very high quality German abrasive. I said Scholl, I think, are poor with their marketing of the products or lack of marketing here in the UK. They do have a bit more of a body shop kind of relationship going on, but they are popular with detailers as well. Where was I going with that? I've forgotten where I was going with that. But the thing is, Scholl are a proper OEM abrasive manufacturer that make these, sell them to body shops, sell them to automotive industries that are refinishing cars, you know, working on defects after new cars are painted. They have pedigree, they have proper pedigree. They also manufacture their own pads, and their spider pads are superb. Their range of spider pads, absolutely superb, and robust pads that are a bit more durable and less prone to crumbing up. So they're a very credible option that not everyone uses, but you should be aware of, and most detailers would have maybe tried it. You know, it's there. Yeah, so that's where I am with it. I rate Scholl Concepts very highly as an abrasive specialist, and that's kind of what I've said before. I want them to stay an abrasive specialist because I like going to specialists with the stuff that I use to detail my cars. You know, the brands I like Built Hamber for surfactants because they're experts in those surfactants and derusting stuff. I like the Geon stuff for coatings because they've been in that game for a long time with the accredited coating, and you know their consumer coatings are very good. I like Koch as well, a similar brand that are perhaps an example of another German OEM manufacturer that have got a wider range of detailing and car cleaning and products. Scholl are very abrasive focused, and they don't have the wide range of sort of like APCs, cleaners, snow foams and detergents and decontamination products. They're less detailing aware as a brand. And if you look at that range, you'll spot that instantly. But I kind of like it, guys. I kind of like an abrasive specialist. I kind of like the fact it's all quiet on the Western Front and I'm not being bombarded with social media kind of stuff telling me this is the latest and greatest. I know these are the real deal when it comes to kind of abrasive quality. Yeah, but this video is aiming to be a critical kind of analysis of Scholl, and with that real kind of professional leaning with their products and complexity, that makes it slightly more professionally orientated. But yeah, I mean, this, you could just say, well, you just use this and it's great and it works. Yes, but you've got to get those little bits right in the wider consumer market. You know, and companies that have operated in that market, your Autoglims, your Maguires, your Turtle Waxes, that operate more in that car care industry rather than the abrasive industry, understand the importance of kind of instructions and communication through marketing. And that's where I think Scholl could improve. But from a product side, what you should be getting with Swiss Edition is hopefully a product that doesn't clump down as much and wipes off the panel a bit easier. That's what you should get. People tell me S20 dusts on them. It's never dusted on me. It's clumped on me and it's bedded down on me, but it never dusts. Because I think if you're getting clumping and bedding down, that's the first sign that the product might be overheating, or the abrasive slurry is dirty with clear coat that you've pulled up or something. It's the first sign. And if you don't adjust, then it will start dusting on you perhaps. Also, 99% of times when people tell me a product dusts, they get it for the first time and they put it on a pad that's not a brand new pad, and it's got loads of old polish in it, and they go and do their first set and boof, you get the dust cloud because of all the old polish in the pads. That's not 99% of the time, but that's like 80% of the time. That's what's happening. How do I know? Because we've all done it. We've all done it. If in doubt, first set and it's an old pad that looks like clean, but there might be some old polish there, a little bit polish discoloring. You could mist a set of water on it, which kind of seals it in a little bit more as well. Okay, there we go, guys. So thanks for watching. Hope this is useful. Let me know your thoughts in the video. What I'm hoping to see is, I'm hoping that gets phased out, and that is the one that is going to be available. John, if you had to go forward and buy which one? Well, I'm going to go, they're the same price. This is more modern with an easy wipe non-VOC formula. So I'm just going to go with that one. And then time will tell. But if I do discover some horrible problem with this and I don't like it, which I won't, I can always go back to that one. But I've got a feeling it's going to get phased out, but I don't know. There you go. Thanks for watching. 33 minutes. Jesus, I can talk for England. Over and out. Adios. Doug.
Holding on to what I knew, but the moment's gone. Where was I when